welcome. So today is a live Q&A, which means I am taking any and all questions that you might have. It is a live Q&A today. So shoot your best question at me. And if you have been struggling with something or you've just been curious about something pertaining to health, wellness, exercise, go ahead and shoot your questions at me and I will answer them, inshallah. So I'm going to start off with a couple of questions that I've gotten via message, and you can ask your questions along the way. Assalamu alaikum, holistic dietitian on Instagram, Hamida on Facebook. Tell me where you're logging in from. Say hello, how you doing, and assalam. I think on Instagram, I can actually bring you on camera. So if you feel like, hey, I've never done it before, but I'm so happy to do it. If you have a question, we actually have a question for you, and you want to come on camera and ask me, let me know. Facebook, let's see, can we do that on Facebook? I'm not sure if we can do that on Facebook, but if we can, raise your hand and I'll see if I can bring you on. Let me see, hold on. No, that's not it. So, but if you would like to come on camera on Instagram, let me know, because I know I can do it on Instagram. All right, so one of the questions that I get all of the time is, how much water should you drink? How many people have asked me that question, or have wondered that question, or even have heard me answer that question? So that is a quick and simple answer. One of the, how much water should you drink? Weigh yourself in pounds. Drink half that amount in ounces every single day. And that is like a baseline. That's not if you're exercising, if you want to lose weight, if you want to gain weight, if you want to become more toned. That's a baseline. That's where you start from. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water every single day as a baseline. For every hour that you work out, add 16 ounces to that. If it's really hot where you are, you're doing a lot of sweating, then you should be drinking additional water to compensate for that as well. All right, so that's that. So Hamida on Facebook says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam, was wondering about how to keep your vitamin D levels up with covering. That is an excellent question. So vitamin D inside of the medical community is called, and I learned this from my doctor, it is the old new vitamin, right? So doctors and researchers have known about it for a long time, and in the last or so, lots of research is showing its importance. You may want to get your vitamin D level checked. And I'm sorry, this is probably a longer answer than straightforward, Hamida, but I know some people may not understand the importance of vitamin D, so I just wanted to give a little background. You may want to get your vitamin D level checked. There's a couple of things that puts you at risk for low vitamin D. One of them is wearing hijab all the time. Yes, it does. It is something that, as many things in this world, that we sacrifice, but vitamin D in our body is absorbed. We create it after we absorb ultraviolet rays from the sun. And when you are covered up all the time, and every time we go out, when we do have exposure to the sun, we actually block that exposure because we cover everything but our face and our hands, right? So, and if you were in the niqab, you cover it even more. So you want to get your vitamin D levels checked if you are a hijabi, if you dress modest all the time, because sometimes people don't wear hijab, but they're still all covered every place else. Also, having a lot of melanin in your skin, like so, puts you at risk for lower vitamin D levels. Vitamin D, one, as a hijabi, you can keep some windows open expose your skin to the sun rays. So that is one way of you getting vitamin D. That's really kind of like the main way of getting vitamin D. Other than that, it is supplemented. You will notice that if you live in the United States, I don't live anyplace else, so I don't know if this exists other place, but they supplement milk with vitamin D levels because it's often taken out during the pasteurization process. So that's number one. But I'm going to tell you, and number two is to actually take a vitamin D supplement. So I'll tell you just like a little personal kind of my personal story about vitamin D is my vitamin D level was a few years ago. My vitamin D level was really, really low, right? So when I owned my fitness studio, and this is some symptoms that you may experience and not understand that it comes from a low vitamin D level. And I am going to answer your question, Hamida. I'm going to tell you about supplements and which ones to take and how much you should take in a minute. So, when I first opened my fitness studio, I literally taught like 20 classes a week myself alone. Like I started off probably the first 6 months as being the only, I didn't have any employees, no other instructors, and I taught and I did personal training. And I was always so exhausted, and I would come home and my husband would cook or he would put the kids to bed on many nights because I was so tired, and he just kind of like chucked it up to, oh, well, you're really tired because you're working so hard, right? And so when I finally went to the doctor, I was like, I'm always really tired. Like I'm exhausted. Like I push through because I love what I do, but I'm always really tired. And so she looked at me and she was like, you have a lot of risk for low vitamin D. You're covered all the time because of your hijab. You have a lot of melanin in your skin, which is also mitigates the absorption of vitamin D. So I'm going to check your vitamin D levels. And my vitamin D level was all the way down. My vitamin D level was like I believe it was like a 6. Now, a normal vitamin D is 30, and mine was 6. And so my doctor was like, you definitely need to be taking supplements. So where you want to get your vitamin D level, once you get it checked, if it's under 30, your goal should be to get it to 30. That is the measurement that they have on your vitamin D. Your vitamin D level is tested via a blood test. There's no other way to test it. You got to go to the lab and get a blood test so your doctor can tell you what your vitamin D level is. I took a very long time to get my vitamin D level to this coveted, right? 30, 25 to 30. Once you get to 25, your doctor will be like, you're good, but ideally you want to get to 30. It took me, I believe 6 months, maybe even a year to actually get all the way up to 30. And then I met a researcher who studies vitamin D, a Yale researcher, and she's like, it should not take you that long to get your vitamin D levels to 30. And I was given lots of great information that I wish my doctor knew, but she is literally in the trenches doing the research now. So she had all of the latest findings. And I was so happy to actually finally meet her. Her name is Lubna Pal. She actually specializes in infertility at the Yale Infertility Clinic, but she is a researcher and she researches vitamin D and PCOS and infertility. And I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing her on one of my radio shows. So vitamin D levels, when you have low vitamin D, the best way to take vitamin D when you go into the store to look at vitamin D, take the liquid. Don't take the pills. The liquid is absorbed. It's more bioavailable. So the pills will, but if the pill tablet says, hey, it's 2,000 milligrams of vitamin D, you're not really absorbing 2,000 milligrams of vitamin D. But if you take the liquid, so that's the first tip that she gave me, is to aim for, to take the liquid. The second tip that she gave me was vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. So I was waking up in the morning, taking my vitamins with my first glass of water, so that I don't forget it throughout the day. no, take it with your highest fat meal because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. So if you are eating your biggest meal at lunch, you should take it with your meal. If you're eating your biggest meal at dinner, then you should take it with your meal. Don't take it with your water in the morning or with your smoothie where you're just eating fruits and vegetables. That is actually not the best way to take it because your body is actually not going to absorb it and use it because it attaches. So a fat soluble, so some vitamins are fat soluble, some vitamins are water soluble. That means, think of it kind of like the bus that it gets on in order to get into your cells. Vitamin D jumps on the fat bus to get into the cells. It can't enter the cells by itself. It has to attach itself to fat in order to enter into your cells. Some vitamins are water soluble vitamins like vitamin A or vitamin K. It attaches itself to water and you don't need fat in order to absorb those. So those are 2 tips actually that is really, really good. So holistic dietitian said we need to be aiming for 60. Well, the research would disagree with you, but maybe you have a reason why you're saying that. The minimum you should have is, so what Dr. Lubna Powell was explaining was doctors will tell you that 25 is where you should be aiming for, but research shows that all of the benefits that it says having high vitamin D levels will give you this, this, and this starts at 30. For reasons for infertility, you actually want to shoot above 30. But the average person, if you have a 30 vitamin D level, you're starting to get all of the benefits. Some of the drawbacks of having low vitamin D level is you'll get really tired all the time. If your vitamin D level is really low, you may start having brittle fingers and brittle hair. There's a whole list of things that could be going on when you have vitamin D. Her research was actually for women who suffer from PCOS. They're researching, they know women who are diagnosed with PCOS, most of them have low vitamin D. And what they're trying to research now, which is an ongoing research, there isn't any conclusion to it, is it the horse first or the cart first? Do people with women with PCOS have low vitamin D? They don't know which one, if it's a cause and effect thing. They just know that many women with PCOS have low vitamin D. All right. So, I am glad you're fine. Firdosa, with illness too, the vitamin D can be low. So Firdosa says she takes 4,000 milligrams of vitamin D. So here's the interesting thing is that the other tip that Dr. Powell gave me was she said that when they gave women with low vitamin D, when they gave them an average dose, and I believe it was, and I might be wrong about this, around 2,000 milligrams in order to get their vitamin D level, she was saying that it was like putting, her words were, it was like putting water in a bucket full of holes. That when your vitamin D is low, you actually have to take 3 times the amount, right, in order to get it to get higher. And then once it is high, you can maintain it by taking a lower dose. So that was really important. You're gonna have to scroll around, or you can go to SoundCloud and look up Mornings with Mubaraka, Lubna Powell, and you will find the interview that I did with her. Okay, so my mentor Josh told me that, and he's a nutritional function. So holistic dietitian. I'm sure he has a reason for doing it. I'm just telling you what the researcher that I spoke to said. So I have never heard that you need to be aiming for 60. If he has some research around that, I'll be happy to read it if you message it to me. So that would be great. I'm glad it is educational. So I am taking, for anybody that's just logging in, I'm just taking questions. I have MS, sister. My vitamin D gets very low. Oh, okay. So then you want to talk to your doctor about taking vitamin D supplements. Getting out in the sun is really important. When you do buy foods that are that say they are supplemented with vitamin D, that might be really helpful for you as well. So again, those 3 tips of if you have low vitamin D is you have to actually start your supplementation with 3 times the average amount. Once your vitamin D gets up to normal range, which is 30, then you can lower the doses to maintain that 30. So that's tip 1. Tip 2 is vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. So take it with your highest fat meal. Don't take it with your smoothie. Don't take it first thing in the morning. Take it with your highest fat meal. And tip 3 is that when you go and buy vitamin D supplements, buy the liquid vitamin D supplements, it is more bioavailable. Bioavailable means that your body recognizes it and can absorb it better than it does vitamins that are not bioavailable or that are largely not bioavailable. So I often tell people that about getting a multivitamin, right? So when you buy a multivitamin, you don't want to go to the store and like get Centrum, right? Which is the difference between you want to get a multivitamin that has is a food-based multivitamin. That means that when you look at the back of the vitamin, instead of it just listing vitamin A, vitamin C, iron, this, and telling you the milligrams, it's actually telling you carrots, broccoli, dehydrated cabbage. It actually has food inside of the ingredients. So that means that they got those vitamins from the food. Your body will recognize the vitamins better, as opposed to if the foods aren't listed inside of your ingredients, that means that many of the vitamins inside of the list of vitamins are made inside of the lab. They literally take the chemical components and they're like, okay, vitamin A has, whatever chemical components, and we can make it in the lab. And technically, when they look at it as a chemical, then the vitamin is there, but your body is like, this sort of looks like vitamin C, but I'm not sure if it is, so I'm going to just take half of it. I'm not going to take all of it. That's what bioavailable means, all right? Which is more beneficial, probiotics or prebiotics? Howard said, which is more beneficial, probiotics or prebiotics? I don't think that it's about, one, they're both beneficial. I don't think that it's about which one is more beneficial. They are both beneficial for you. It really depends on kind of like what your reasoning is for taking it. For people that have a lot of digestive issues, if you have like diagnosed digestive issues like Crohn's disease and things like that, then prebiotics are going to be really helpful for you and necessary. But if you don't have digestive issues already and you're just taking it as a supplement, as a prophylactic, then probiotics alone would be fine. Any more questions? So also too, Ferdosa, who says that she has MS, I am going to recommend that you do research on the keto diet. There's been a lot of research over the last 10, 15 years on ketogenic eating for people with MS, also for people, this is a lot of new and evolving researches that are coming out, and it looks very, very promising. So again, I am not a researcher and I am not a doctor, so I am not prescribing anything for anybody with a diagnosed illness. What I would really recommend is that you look up some research. The NCIH is available online. You can go there and you can look up research. You can talk to your doctor about it, and what do you call it? And you can do it. So holistic dietitian, targeted pre is more important because we need, okay. No, if your vitamin D level gets to 30, should I stop or just lower the dose? Just lower the dose. If your vitamin D level is getting low and it's low, then there's a reason why your body is not making enough to bring it higher. So you should definitely you want to lower the dose. You should continue it if your doctor recommends for you to continue the vitamin D. So I can only tell you my personal experience is that once I got my vitamin D levels to where I needed to be, the vitamin D that was in my multivitamin was actually sufficient for me. So I don't take an additional vitamin D anymore. So again, you want to, you may have some risk factors that's causing your vitamin D level to get low. So you want to make sure you run that by your doctor and see if you don't. But in general, once your vitamin D level comes to normal levels, you can lower the dosage and continue to take it. And if you are taking a multivitamin that has vitamin D in it, that may be sufficient for you. You just want to, when you do your annual, so when I do my annual doctor's visits, I always get like a full range of blood, a full range of, a full range of blood work done. And vitamin D for me is a part of that full range of blood work, which means that I get it tested every year. And if you've had low vitamin D in the past, and even if it's up to normal levels, I would suggest that you definitely make that a part of kind of like your annual visit. The same way you get your cholesterol done every year, your A1C levels or your glucose levels depend on your family history. What else? So, do we have any questions? Instagram has no questions. Okay. So today is all about the Q&A. If you are just tuning in and you have no idea who I am, my name is Mubaraka and it's nice to meet you. How are you? And you are on the Fit Muslimah profile and you are now tuning in to day 29, yay me, of 30 days of going live and giving you something of value every single day. I am very proud of myself. I have been live on Facebook. Instagram, I haven't been live every day. Probably 20 of those 28 days. Actually, today's Sunday, 29 days. No, maybe I would say like 25. It's only like 4 days I didn't go live on Instagram. But I am going live every day. So I'm going live for a couple of reasons for every day. One, to challenge myself to give you of something of value every single day. And number two, to work with these Facebook algorithms. So that was a side effect. One of the things about Facebook is they keep changing the algorithms on us. Oh my gosh. And so they change the algorithms and they will show it to show your page and your more if you are going live. They want everybody to be authentic and live and all this other great stuff. So here I am being authentic and live. All right. Derek said, how safe are metformins? As far as I know, they are very safe. Metformin is a medication that is given when people are pre-diabetic, right before you get. But what I say about metformin is, if your doctor is prescribing you to metformin, then you have a chance of reversing your diabetes very quickly. Right? So metformin means, you know what? This is about to get bad. You better do something. So that means that you can make lifestyle changes to make a huge, huge difference in your life. I would definitely suggest that you start that. So one of the things, let me say this, that you will, if you have been tuning into my lives, you know, I believe in alternative health, but I also believe that Allah gave us the intelligence to create modern day medicine. So I am not one of those anti-vaccine people, don't listen to the doctor people. I have doctors, I go to my doctors, but I believe in preventative health. I believe that we have both the knowledge and the intelligence to heal ourselves. Our doctors are not always the answer. Like a lot of people run to the doctor for every single thing and they just take whatever medicine the doctor has for them. I think that there are alternatives to it, but I also believe that doctors go to school for a reason and they do research for a reason. So this is not a page where you are going to find me bashing medicine, bashing doctors, talking bad about. So there are things that are helpful that the doctors give us. And what I always refer people to, particularly Muslims, is seeing a doctor is a part of the sunnah. It is a part of what we are instructed to do. There was a man, this is a hadith. He went to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said to him, I'm sick. He had something that was wrong with his stomach. And he asked the Messenger of Allah, what should he do? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him some advice. Go and do this, this, and this. He came back to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, I did what you instructed me to do and I am not better. I am worse. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, I am not a doctor. Right? He didn't say, oh, it's because you didn't believe in Allah strong enough. You didn't believe in me. He told him, I am not a doctor. So we are instructed to go and seek knowledge from those who know, because we don't have knowledge of every single thing in the world, right? So even the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, I am not a doctor. Go talk to a doctor. And he's the Messenger of Allah. So I don't bash doctors. I think that they are a part of the mercy that Allah has given us. He has given us intelligence. He has given us barakah through people. And that is part of it. And through medicine, right? There's lots of different medicines that you can take. I don't suggest that we do it all the time. But if you need it, go for it. For those who said, black seeds happen to be my medicine with flu. Alhamdulillah, if that works for you. Excellent. Honey is, garlic and honey is really, really good for flu. It is. When I'm doing that, I have not gotten sick a lot over the last few years, but when I do get any type of like flu in the wintertime, a part of that is because of beautiful global warming. It used to be really, really cold in Connecticut. Like as soon as winter starts, now like the cold is delaying. Like today it was probably like 40 degrees, which is very warm for Connecticut in the end of December. But here's a tip. So you take a garlic clove and you crush it up and you put it inside a tablespoon of honey and you add black seed to it, and you take 1 tablespoon like every hour while you're sick. That's one little at-home thing that has always worked for me and worked for my family. Another thing that really helps significantly is to sweat it out. So you get some lemon and you squeeze lemon inside you boil your water, squeeze your lemon inside your cup. Make sure the water is nice and hot. Go take a super hot shower and then put on like 3 pairs of pajamas. Drink your lemon tea, get into bed, wrap yourself in a blanket and sweat all night long. I guarantee the next morning you'll be 70% better. Maybe not 100% better, but you'll be like 70% better. Works every time. So if you have a bad cold or a flu, try to sweat it out. Or hey, if you're lucky enough to have a sauna, then you can also just go sit in the sauna. Sweat it out. That really works. So I am taking questions. If anybody have any extra questions, if y'all don't, then I'll have to see you tomorrow for our last live. So tomorrow, I'm going to be traveling with my husband. So who knows what we're going to talk about? Y'all know he don't have no kind of filter. So I'm having anxiety already. The last time I brought him live, I actually deleted the video the next day because I was like, that's just too much. I can't have that on my page. So if you notice, one of my lives are missing because I deleted it. Okay. Imani said, do you boil the lemon water? No, boil the water. So squeeze the juice of one lemon, and filter out the seeds into a cup. Boil the water. And then pour the water into the cup with the lemon juice, the fresh lemon juice, and you drink that. And, obviously you drink it as warm as you can drink it. Obviously you can't drink boiling water, but as warm as you can drink it. So you don't boil the lemon juice. You take, it's like making tea. Just think of like the lemon juice is like the tea and you're pouring hot water into it. Fitness Hijab said, I would like to know what I can read in order to be wide range. It depends on what you are trying to learn about. If you are trying to learn about physical fitness, about weight loss, and so health and fitness is a huge wide range. I would suggest that you start off with reading kind of like basic. Let me try to think of some books that are really basic. Health and fitness is such a wide range of topic. Find a topic that you want to learn about and learn as much about that topic as you can. So if your goal is, hey, I want to learn about how carbohydrates affect us. When do we need them? How much do we need them? What do we need them? And then just start going and doing reading on that. If you want to know about and I would also suggest that you, if you want to be a health and fitness coach, there are lots of different certifications. And again, it depends on how you want to do. There's certifications to become a keto coach where they kind of like condense and find all of the resources for you for that certification. So that's a really like a wide range. So Fitness and Hijab, do you want to be a health and fitness coach, a personal trainer? Because I can tell you like specific, is there any specific thing that you want to learn about health and fitness? And then I can maybe direct you to some resources. Keisha says he loves seeing me and my husband. Yeah, he really is funny. He's funny enough to help me delete my videos because he doesn't know what to say out his mouth. So, what age should you start taking a multivitamin? Derek says, what age should you start taking a multivitamin? I consider multivitamins as kind of like an insurance plan. So I've given them to my kids since they were young kids, and most of them still take them to this day. But I would say I don't really like have an age that I would suggest. I would suggest, okay, I do have an age. Once you stop controlling what your kids eat, then they should probably take a multivitamin. Generally, when they're teens and they're out about and they're not eating what you have planned for them and they're having junk food and stuff like that, then I would suggest that they start taking a multivitamin. So once you stop dictating their foods, give them a multivitamin. What vitamins do I take? Keisha Porter says, what vitamins do I take? So I take a multivitamin called Alive. That is, the name brand is Alive. That is my go-to. I've probably been taking that for a good 10 years. That's my staple multivitamin. I take fish oils. So I take fish oils because, and I mentioned this maybe a couple of months ago, fish oils, particularly for African Americans, there's research that shows that it reduces the chances of any heart-related illnesses by 70%, specifically for Black people of African descent. It did not show that significance for people of other nationalities. So that was something that when the researchers looked in general, it decreases heart-related illnesses by, the research was 19%, which to researchers, that was like modest, not really very impressive. But when they took the people included in the study and they broke them down by different segments, by men, by women, by ethnicity, they found that specifically for Black people, it decreases the rate of heart-related illnesses. So I take a fish oil. And if you're Muslim and halal, the brand I take is called Sports Research. It's really hard to find a fish oil that is actually in fish gelatin, crazy enough, right? They still put it in like a pork gelatin capsule, but it's fish oil. So that's the brand I take. The third thing that I take is I take a turmeric supplement. And I take a turmeric supplement for several reasons, because I was having some issues with inflammation in my fingers. And so it's an anti-inflammatory. Because I have a history of my mom and her parents with having heart disease, I'm always concerned that I keep my heart healthy. And so turmeric is really good at reducing cholesterol. So the research shows that it reduces cholesterol. It raises your HDL, which is your the healthy cholesterol. And also too, my husband has a genetic tendency for high cholesterol, so I make sure that I buy a big enough bottle. Those are the three that we both take. What else do I take? That is actually all I take currently. Some of the things that rotates inside of my diet is when I am under a lot of stress. So say I have a stint where I'm traveling a lot or I'm doing a lot of events and I'm just really, really busy. I take something called GABA. So it's sold on Amazon. It's called 100 milligrams of Zen. And I actually started taking that because my naturopath, rahimahullah, he passed away a couple of years ago. But he had recommended it because it helps with stress. It helps with mental focus. If you have, I don't, but just as a side note, if you have problems with anxiety or depression, it's also supposed to be really good for that. So I do that. I take that when I'm really busy or have a big projects in order to help with mental focus and reduce my stress. And that's pretty much, and then other stuff that I taken that might be. So when I was having a problem with some swelling inside of my joints, my doctors ran all of this tests and it's not arthritis and it went away on its own. So I have no idea what it was. But I was having a problem with my grip, right? Because my knuckles were swelling up. And so that was some inflammation in my body. And there is a supplement called Baswala. And I took that for about 3 months. And I don't know if that is the cause, because I took that and I was getting some hand therapy. And so I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. So I can't say that specifically thing cured my joint inflammation. But that, I think that it was definitely helpful for that. And I don't take probiotics or prebiotics anymore, but I used to maybe about a year ago. But yeah, those are ones. So Fitness said, repeat the last supplement, Baswala. I think that's how it's pronounced, Boswel. It might be Baswali. I'm not in my house right now, so I can't show it, but I'm sure if you Google it, it will bring it up. Google Baswala inflammation, and it's going to bring up the studies, the information, and stuff like that. I heard probiotics are good. What are your thoughts? So I think probiotics are helpful for you if you're having digestive issues, if you're which means you get constipated, or you are having also too, if you have what were you just talking? Probiotics will help you absorb the nutrients from your food better. So if you have any deficiencies in any particular vitamins or minerals, then they are good. There are like 101 vitamins and minerals and supplements. You really have to go for what your particular health needs are, right? So some people will say, oh, everybody needs to take a probiotic. I personally just think that everybody is individual. Everybody don't need to take probiotic. I think the only thing that I would say that everybody should take is a general multivitamin, because no one eats perfectly. And even if you have a pretty good diet and you think you eat healthy, I'm sure that it's not perfect, and it's always just to me, it's just like your insurance policy. But I think that they're beneficial. If you are not doing a bowel movement on a daily basis, then you might want to consider a probiotic. Also want to consider, drinking more water, having more fiber. But you should be doing a bowel movement on a daily basis. And it should not be difficult for you to do that. And if it is, then you need to start changing your diet up a little bit. All right? Imani says, yes, your husband is so funny. Alhamdulillah. Yes, he is funny. He's funny, so funny, he embarrasses me sometimes. I love him because I love the fact that he's funny. That's what attracts me to him. But sometimes he don't have no filter, and I'm like, but alhamdulillah. Okay. What money did I take? Let's see. Any more questions? Yes, you take a live and fish oil too. Awesome. Yasmin. Can you write you down? Prince Al Yemen? I don't understand what you mean. Do you mean like write down the vitamins? I will tell them to you again and you can write them down. So a live multivitamin, a fish oil, and I take turmeric. All right, so those are 3. Oh, tell me about turmeric. Turmeric is so much to tell. I'm going to just mention a couple of things and you can like Google and find a whole bunch of things. So turmeric is awesome, absolutely awesome. So turmeric is really good for inflammation. Turmeric also, so I'm telling you what the science says, right? That it reduces inflammation. So if you have inflammation in your joints, if you have inflammation, even like after a really hard workout, you have inflammation in your muscles, that turmeric is really good. Research shows that it actually reduces your cholesterol. So if you have high cholesterol issues, turmeric is a great supplement for you to add. Again, like I said, with supplements, there are hundreds of supplements that you can add. There are people that will tell you do a little bit of everything. I suggest that you really look at what you are trying to take a supplement for and take supplements for that specific thing, right? I personally try not to take more than about 3 pills. I try not to, right, at one time. So alhamdulillah, I'm in good health, so I don't have to take a whole bunch of stuff. So if you have high cholesterol, you definitely want to look at adding turmeric to your diet and adding it as a supplement as opposed to just in your food. So the reason why I say that is that they actually looked at people of East Asian descent. We know that Pakistanis, Indians, of every ethnicity in the world, they use turmeric more than anybody. Turmeric is like in curry, it's in their masala, it's in like everything, right? And so they actually measured, even if you eat in a traditional way of East Asian, how many milligrams of turmeric are you bringing in a day? And the amount inside of a person's diet who traditionally eat East Asian is not the equivalent to what the research shows that works to actually reduce the cholesterol. So some of the issues that So some of the issues with looking at researching and taking supplements, and this is what I would suggest that you do as well. When you look at if you see like, oh, a research studies that this supplement reduces cholesterol, blah, 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 blah. Look at the research and see how many milligrams they used in the research, right? So if the research is saying 500 milligrams of turmeric a day reduces cholesterol, but the average East Asian person only gets 250 milligrams in their diet by eating turmeric as a part of their food, then you need to supplement with the turmeric. The other thing is 3 tips about taking turmeric as well. Don't get a turmeric supplement that just has turmeric by itself, or like just, adding turmeric to your food. Turmeric is better absorbed when you have it with pepper. Black pepper. So inside of the supplement form, it's called piperine. Look for a turmeric supplement that has piperine inside of the ingredients as well. Secondly, turmeric is also like vitamin D. It is a fat soluble nutrient. So when you take your turmeric supplement, make sure that you are adding fat. You're taking it with your highest fat meal. It needs to be absorbed. It attaches itself to fat to get into the cells. So those are 2 really important things about turmeric. And I say that and reiterate that because, and I was just having this conversation with my client the other day. She came to me and she was telling me like, oh, she makes smoothies every morning and they actually put fresh turmeric inside of the smoothies. I'm like, that's really great, but what are you eating your smoothie with? Is that in addition to what you're having for breakfast? She's like, no, all I have is the smoothie. I put spinach in there, and she was telling me all of the things, which was great. She was having a nice smoothie, lots of greens in it, a little bit of fruit, some coconut water, and some fresh turmeric, but there's no fat. And I'm like, you're wasting your turmeric. It's not being absorbed. So make sure that you are having turmeric. Don't fall for the smoothie shops that tell you they're going to throw some turmeric inside of your smoothie. You're only getting maybe 30% of the benefit of whatever they're throwing in there, because it can't be absorbed without, or it has a hard time being absorbed in your body without fat and without the piperine, which is, or piperine, I think how you pronounce it, which is also something that you need to add to it, which also makes sense of why there is, the East Asians make golden milk, right? And golden milk is really like the perfect combination of what gives you the benefit of the turmeric. It has milk in it, which has fat. They add black pepper to it, which is the piperine, and they add the turmeric to it. It's like it's like traditionally they had the wisdom of taking in the turmeric in a way that it was best absorbed in their body, which is awesome, which is why I love traditional medicine. And another reason why I teach the way that I do, I believe in traditional medicine, but I also believe the traditional medicine that works is proven in science. When we research many of the ways that the traditional medicine works, it's actually proven with the science that, hey, this is why it works and why you shouldn't change what we've been doing, right? Because sometimes people be like, oh, well, if turmeric is so good, let's put turmeric in everything and let's take it in the morning and evening night. And they don't know, like, it was combined with fat and pepper for a reason. And now the science tells us why it was combined that way. So all those Desi aunties knew what they was doing. Listen to them. Acha. Didn't know I knew a little Urdu, did you? Mm-hmm. I know a little bit, sunshine. So, any more questions? And Linda, I take the pill powder. Yes, I do. I get it from Costco's. Costco's actually carry a really great brand. Costco's, and it's nice and big, so me and my husband can both take it as long as I remind him to take it. All right, we talked about, if you're just joining us, we are doing a live Q&A. I got about 5 more minutes and then I have to go make Maghrib. So if you have a question, now is the time for you to type it out. Let me know what you got a question about. We talked about, if you're just joining us, we talked about vitamin D. We talked about probiotics. We talked about turmeric. We talked about multivitamins. We had a lot of supplement questions. We talked about science and the sunnah. I love that. I love combining like the sunnah and science because it is such a great way of understanding the hikmah behind what Allah has prescribed for us. It's kind of like the whole idea of like intermittent fasting. Love talking about intermittent fasting because we can directly connected to the recommendations of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So here is like a little tidbit. I was thinking about this the other day because the other day, Brother Nazir actually came on and he asked me about like fasting for a certain amount of days, right? 7 days, I think it was, something like that. And so I started thinking about like, what was the longest fast that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we that he did. And I remember a hadith that said during the last 10 nights of Ramadan, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that his iftar and suhoor would be one, right? And I was like, so he did like a 24-hour fast and he did a 1 meal a day for 10 days of the last 10 days of Ramadan. Hey, science in the sunnah, they're right here. Right? And so there is a documentary. I'm going to try to find it. I can never remember the name of this documentary when I talk about it. So a journalist decided to do an experiment and research around fasting and the type of intermittent fasting that works best. And so he tried fasting 1 day on, 1 day off, right? Alternate days of fasting. What do we know that as? When you alternate days of fasting, what is it called in Islam? I'm going to let you answer that. Let me know. It is called the fast of... We've been knowing about this for like 1,400 years, y'all. And they just starting to research it. So he did that. He did a fast where it would be like 24 hours twice a week. And what was the other fast that he did? I want to say like 3 consecutive days or something like that. And he did like blood tests and all this other stuff to find out which fasts were the most beneficial, which one that he can maintain the longest, and what was the effect of each fast. And guess which one came out on top? Guess. From his anecdotal research was the fasting twice a week on non-consecutive days. What? Now, what do we know that as Muslims? Every Monday and Thursday, the sunnah of Monday and Thursday fast. And for people who have not figured it out yet, one fast one day and then don't fast the other day, that is called the fast of Dawood. Dawood alayhi salam, he would fast one day and not fast another day, and that is called the fast of Dawood. So all of these things literally has been done for thousands of years by Muslims and recommended, right? So the being able to fast on that Monday and Thursday, that is a sunnah that we can adopt. Now we know the science of it. Eating 1 meal a day as a means of focusing and having more energy to do something that requires you to completely focus on it. Like in the last 10 days of Ramadan, you get more ibadah when you're not like making all of these meals and you're constantly eating and getting tired because you ate and you can't stay up and make Salatul Layl. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the last 10 days of Ramadan, his iftar and his suhoor would be one. All of that is the science of the sunnah. I get excited when I talk about that. I do. Okay. I'm going to try not to get too excited. All right. One more question. Which fitness watch do you make use of? So I no longer use a fitness watch, but when I did, I have several Fitbits in my drawer that like end up breaking or something. So I like Fitbit because it gave me lots of information, and not just about my movement, but also about my sleep and things like that. But to be honest, I'm not like married to Fitbit, so it's just the one that when I first got it, it was kind of like the early brand on the market, and I'm a brand loyalty person. So when I got another one, I got Fitbit. And when I lost that one, I went and got another Fitbit. So, alhamdulillah. Thank you, Linda. So, and Fardosa, that is, so that's the fitness watch. All right. So tomorrow is the 30th. It is the 30th day. I said I was going to go live. I know December is 31 days, but I'm going to go live 30 days. And I'm going to be traveling. So I will probably have to bring my husband on. Yeah, I know that gives me anxiety because he has no filter. But I will give you the pleasure of his funny. And if you have any questions that you have for me, or I guess if you have any questions for him, you let me know in the comments or send me a DM. And tomorrow I will try to answer it on our travels. We have to take my daughter to the airport. So we will be traveling, inshallah. Aisha says, for us wanting to gain weight the healthy way, how do we go about it? So, Aisha, I did an entire live on exactly that. I believe it was like 3 days ago. So on the Fit Muslimah page, go to videos and then scroll through the videos. And I think it is entitled Gaining Weight, right? How to gain weight. And I did a whole live on that. All right. So I'm going to go and make Maghrib and give myself some nutrition, something to eat, because I'm kind of hungry. And inshallah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow's the last live. So now ask all your questions, because after that, you get me once a week for live with you, and then once a week for the radio show. Remember, I go live every Wednesday. Well, we're on break for the winter, for the next couple of weeks. But we will do Wednesday mornings, 10 a.m. I have a live radio show, Mornings with Mubarakah, where we talk about national issues on a local level through a lens of diversity. And then next year, let me tell you some of the exciting things for next year. I am going to start a new live and podcast called H3, Health, Happiness, and Hustle. So you will have that to look forward to once a week, and you can tune in for that. And I will continue my radio show every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. So make sure that you are logging on live for that as well. I'm going to post it really big someplace in the group and tack it to the top so that you guys can always remember. And remember to share, comment, and make sure that you subscribe so that you'll know all the cool stuff we talk about. All right? I will talk to you soon. I appreciate you guys. I really do. You are a part of my gratitude journal. I appreciate you being a part of my tribe. All right? Assalamu alaikum.